We tried to keep the thing kind of a secret for as long as we could. And there was some discussion early on about whether or not we really wanted to define ourselves as that iPhone movie. Ultimately, I decided I'm not defensive about it at all. I'm very happy with the way the movie looks, and that, you know, we should, if people turn out to see it out of curiosity, that's still the price of a ticket. So we're trying to make it clear that this is a sort of psychological thriller that doesn't turn into a kind of violent extravaganza, that it's actually a very sort of character-driven piece. I'm certainly interested in these kinds of dynamics, not just sort of gender-driven dynamics, but as you say, sort of power dynamics and what happens to people when they get trapped in a system that is kind of designed to strip them of their identity.
Health itself is a business in America. These behavioral centers are sometimes run as for profit, and as such, they need patients. Much like jails need prisoners, hospitals, especially mental facilities, need patients. So they will use anything to get patients and to use your insurance, and then all of a sudden your insurance runs out and you're cured. That was the genesis of the idea.
We're in an interesting sort of transition point, I think, in terms of cinematography, with what's happening with these new digital cameras. And it requires a sort of inversion of a lot of the techniques that you would use if you were shooting on film. And I really enjoy it and have tried to take advantage. The amount of control, obviously, that you can have after the shoot is finished. The combination of textures that we added in post-production, depending on which scenes were occurring in the film. This level of control is really gratifying.
I mean, there's nothing more fun as an actor than just being in the thick of the creative process when you're actually on set and not having to wait for the machine of filmmaking to catch up with the creative impulse. And we never did on set. We were always, when we were on set, we were working. And I think it really enabled us to stay in the world of the film and in the world of our characters with many fewer restrictions or conceits than you generally have on a film set, where, you know, you go back, you drink your cup of coffee, you wait 3 hours for people to get ready, and then you come back and you try to get your head back in the game. I think anything that shortens the distance between creative impulse and execution is really fun for an artist. And so this was a great experiment in that process.
We're so familiar with the aesthetic of phone imagery that I think without even knowing it, there's an intimacy between the viewer and the screen in this case because of that familiarity.
It's a really interesting point that the collective unconscious, as an actor, we're so used to getting phones shoved in our faces on a daily basis, because let me take a picture of that, I've got a new baby, so somebody's always shoving a phone in your face. So I think it really minimized any self-consciousness about the process of making a film, just because, you know, right, the familiarity with the device.
The gap now between the idea and the execution of the idea is just shrinking, and this means you get to try out more ideas. So I wish I'd had this equipment when I was 15.